welcome to another episode of Ask Flora. This week's question comes from Laura, and she writes, I'm a member of the Inner Circle All Access Pass and loved your recent What's Up Wednesday call about the time before and after we breathe. You called it the pregnant pause. Could you explain that concept again in this video so I can share it with some of my friends who would love this idea? Thank you so much, Laura. Laura, thank you so much for asking me to share this with people who are not members of the Inner Circle. This is a concept that I feel is really, really powerful if practiced regularly. So the pregnant pause, this is the time after we've exhaled or after we've taken a deep breath in, and that moment right before we take another breath in or we exhale. And this is very apparent in nature. This is very apparent in many, many things that we do. So the pregnant pause, to elaborate a little bit further, I believe that every breath we take is practice for living and practice for dying. When we're first born, that literally being pregnant or being in utero is that pregnant pause that we're currently in. And then as we're birthed and after we're birthed, the first thing that we do is we take that deep, deep belly breath in. And then as we live through our life, we breathe that cycle of breath in. There's the pause, and then exhale. There's another pause. And then the very last moments we have on earth in this physical body are spent usually laboring, with our breath. And then the very last thing that we do is we exhale. And then there's that pregnant pause again as we transition over into the other side. And so recently we had the winter solstice, and the winter solstice as well as the summer solstice is when I believe the earth has that pregnant pause where it inhales from winter solstice all the way to summer solstice, and then at summer solstice there's kind of this lull or this break or this peak or that pregnant pause where you just wait. And then as we move past the solstice, then it's waning the rest of the year. The energy, the sun, and whatnot wanes the rest of the year or breathes out till we get to the winter solstice. And then there's that pregnant pause again, or that moment of reflection or time of reflection. This is something almost where time stands still. And this is also very indicative of pretty much anything in our life. It's, that pregnant pause, that moment right before we speak our truth. That moment right after we speak our truth to someone, waiting for a response or a reaction. That moment the phone rings before we answer it. That moment we ask someone to marry them. That moment after they say yes or no. That moment when we're waiting for an answer for someone or from someone. It's these pregnant pauses, these moments filled with pure potential and pure possibility. And many times we, in our super active daily lives, we don't take the time to pause. We don't take the time to savor that moment, that, I don't want to say waiting period, but it's this moment of just pure potential energy. That's really what it is. There's always these moments of building up to something and then the moment right before it happens. So many times in our life, people rush through and they try to get to the other side of that pregnant pause, and then they get there and then they're like, okay, now what? Instead of savoring that moment just before. And then also once you get to the other side, savoring the other side and savoring that pregnant pause on the other side and allowing yourself to just be in the moment. And so in my What's Up Wednesday calls, it's very much like this. It's very much like me just kind of riffing for an hour on topics that Spirit guides me to talk about. And this pregnant pause I actually talked about for 2 different weeks, but just allowing us to really see full circle how, okay, no pun intended, how the world, Mother Earth, comes full circle from winter solstice through summer solstice to winter solstice again. And then also with our breath, breathing in from the moment we're born pause and then exhale at the moment of death. And how every breath we take is literally practice for living and dying. And when we can be in the moment of living and conscious while we're living and conscious while we're dying or letting stuff go, not only that, but being conscious and aware during those moments of stillness and giving ourselves permission to be in that stillness without feeling like we have to be doing something else. This is one of the things that I hear so often in my practice is people will send me emails saying, Flora, oh my gosh, I want to write a book, or I want to do this, or I want to do this, and I want to do this, but right now I just feel like doing nothing. I'm like, then just do nothing. Take a break. And I ask them, when was the last time you took a break? When was the last time that you took a vacation? Many times they say never. I'm like, take a break, take a vacation, unplug. Feel that pregnant pause. Many people have all these ideas and all these things that are just percolating and they want to do and they want to manifest and they want to create. But if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, just like when you're in labor, the more that you resist, the more that you try to push and you try to make your will happen, that's when complications happen. That's when things go awry. But if you give yourself permission to just relax into the process and allow yourself to just relax into your natural state of being, that's when the magic happens. That's when you can see yourself hit that pure potential peak. And that's when you can feel that pregnant pause and feel the possibilities in the waiting, in the surrendering of just being in the moment and being at one with yourself. And when you allow yourself to do that, when you give yourself permission to just be in that pregnant pause, breathe in and notice that pause. Notice the moment before things happen. And then give yourself permission to be consciously aware after it happens. Then right there, that's when you start to feel that satisfaction that you've been searching for and looking for. And that's when you start to feel that spiritual connection with yourself and your spirit guides like nothing else. You know, so many times people come to me for their business coaching or even just personal coaching, and they feel like they've wasted X number of years in a relationship or X number of years just waiting and doing nothing, and they feel like they have to catch up. And one of the easiest ways to catch up is to slow down and just be in the moment and notice the energy as it is right now, as you're in that pregnant pause, whether it's a breathing in, and then you sit with that moment, and then as you exhale, and then sit with the moment. When you really give yourself permission to sit with those moments, those pregnant pauses of pure potential energy, of pure source energy, where literally after anything can happen in that moment. And many people are so rushed to get to the other side of that, they miss seeing the beauty in that pause. It's almost like climbing all those foothills for years and years and years, try to get to the top of Mount Everest, and they finally get to the top of Mount Everest, and then they run all the way down, and then they look back and they're like, shit, I missed the view from the top. What the hell? So they gotta turn back and go back around. So give yourself permission to stop right at that peak, to stop in that moment of that pregnant pause, of that moment where our breath and the inhalation and the exhalation meet, where a conversation and a truth meet, where the phone rings and you wait just a moment before you pick it up. These pregnant pauses of coming to a certain point and then waiting, and the moment before something else happens. Give yourself permission to pause ever so slightly in that moment and just be in that energy. And the awareness that comes with these pregnant pauses and these moments of something just before something else happens can give you so much inspiration and so much fuel to fuel you for the rest of the day, for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year. But you have to give yourself permission to be consciously aware and also willing to do this. So that's my challenge for this week for you, is to notice your breath, the pause, and then the exhale, and then the pause. Do this for several moments, and then I would recommend bringing this exercise of that pregnant pause, of being in the moment just before the moment, being in the energy right before you speak your truth, and then sitting with the energy right after you speak your truth, or right before you ask your boss for a raise, or right before you sign that lease for a car, or right before you purchase a house. Notice that energy. Notice that waiting energy, or that lull right before the activity, or the peak when you get to your Everest. Be willing to pause for just a moment, and what that does is that helps you recharge. So that's this week's challenge, is to sit in that pregnant pause, to sit in that moment of stillness in between living and dying, in between activity and inactivity. Or liken it to the Mother Earth cycles on winter solstice and summer solstice. Give yourself permission to just pause in that moment of stillness and be in that energy and just enjoy it without having a care in the world, without having an agenda, just being in the moment for what it is. Well, Laura, thank you so much for asking this question and encouraging me to share some of what I share every week in the What's Up Wednesday call in the Inner Circle. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media platform, as well as an email. And if you've really loved it, please subscribe so you won't miss one single episode of Ask Flora. And also, pop on over to my website. I have a new page that I have 5 free gifts for you if you're interested, and you won't be disappointed. I know you won't be. All right, if you have a question for this Ask Flora segment, please email me, flora@florasage.com, and I would be more than happy to answer your question on this Ask Flora segment. Until next time, bye-bye. How would you like to get access to my arsenal of personal development classes? Hi, I'm Flora Sage from the FloraSageTherapiesInstitute.com, and I want to personally invite you to become a member of the Flora Sage Therapies Institute. This is a place where I've created a hub for my clients, my customers, and my students so that they can get all access all the time, 24/7. How would you like to get access to over 15 personal development classes? My Shift Your Money Mindset 4-module program, my Fearlessly Inspired 12-week program, all of my meditation albums, all of my affirmation albums, 5 live monthly calls, including my What's Up Wednesday calls, and a live group coaching and reading call, as well as over 170 archived What's Up Wednesday calls. What's the What's Up Wednesday call? The What's Up Wednesday call is a 60-minute live call that we do every single Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. Central Time that's recorded. It's a spirit-led call where we look at the hot topics of the week and then end the call with a weekly challenge. How can you get access to all of this? By getting your all-access pass to the Flora Sage Therapies Institute Inner Circle. Click the link below to learn how you can get your all-access pass.